Whenever I do a deep copy, it makes sure that each of the objects also are not having the same ID. Hope that is clear with you guys. All right, now we can head on to the examples, understanding the concepts of list very well, right? The first example, let's open a new file. Let's write a script. Okay, the first example that I would want to do is something like this. I want that, you pass a list to a function, which means you need to define a function. Let me say that function is something like this. The function is going to be sum, okay? The function is going to be sum, or let's say the function is going to be, let's say, add and high, or let's say just add, simple add. What do I need to do in this particular function? This particular function needs to take a list. You can send a list from outside. All it has to do is return the sum of each of the elements in the list. Okay, a simple example. So that means in my main program I can write something like this. I can define a list. Let me say this is my main program. In the list I can just say 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8 comma 9. I just say list. All I need to do is I need to call this particular function, which will get list. All it has to do is return back what? Return back the sum of all the elements of the list. A very simple program. I'm just doing it just for making you understand how to access the list in a function and use it out. I'm going to go to some tougher programs after this, right? So if I pass this on back, and all I need to do is I need to find out the sum of this. The sum of the list can be found out. If you remember, there was a built-in function called as sum, which if I pass any iterable into it, I can get back the answer in a sum, and I can just return that s. Once I get it, I can just print it and say sum of elements in the list is comma out of list. Is that clear? Of course, I'm gonna save it. Let me see. 1 second. All right, I'm gonna save it here today, and let me just say I'm gonna say this is gonna be list example, list underscore example. I save that, and now what do? I need to run it out, which means F5. Sum of the elements in the list is 45. Okay, it has done that for me. Now what do I want to do is, I want you to pass a list. I want you to pass a list to a function, and you should return to me the highest element in the list. What is the highest element now? 9. Let me just define it a little haphazardly. Let me make the 9 here, and 12 here, and 13 here, and 15. So who's the largest element? 15, right? So I need that 15 to be, so I need to pass this list, okay? So whenever I call, of course, this I can just say highest. So whenever I call highest and I pass my list, so this can be any particular variable, right? I can just say, I can just say this is the original list, or let's say this is the, okay, let's say this is the list one, and I pass this list one to this particular function. It should return to me, what did I say? It should return to me the highest as well as the index of the highest. What is the index of the highest? Okay, 15 is the highest. And what is the index of the highest? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It should return to me the index of the highest. So highest is 15, and the index of 15 is, all right. How will I do that? Okay, let's go to the definition of the function, and let me say highest of list. What is highest of list? Let me say a list is passed to that, and I want to find out the highest. If I say finding out the highest is going to be, I need to check whether this number is greater than this number, if this number is greater than this number, right? We need to keep checking that out. So let me just define a variable. Let's say I have a variable called as, greatest, or let me say x is the variable which is currently storing for me the largest element in the list, 0, right? And then I'm going to change that element if I find a greater element. So I can just do this for every element in list. What do I need to do? Check if I is greater than x. If it is, make your x as equal to the value that is I, right? So I get the largest element in the list. Now, how do I get the index of the largest element in the list? Is there a way to get the index of the largest element in the list? Let's check. Let's check if there is a way to find out list dot. Is there? Oh yes, there is an index. There is an index operator. If I find out index, it just says what is the value that you want to find the index of. Okay, I say I want to find out the index of, finally when I come out, I have the largest number in x. If I just need to find out the index of x. So I have my largest number in x and my index in y. So my largest number is in x and my index is in y. Now I have two values. Now these two values I need to return. Whenever this function is called, I need to return the highest and the index. Now how do I return two values? I can return them by sending them both with commas, which means I can send them back with x comma y. Return x comma y, which means there are two values which are coming back when this function is called. I can store them in largest comma index, L comma I, index largest comma index. Okay, this particular thing is where they are sending x comma y, they're sending two parameters. I'm storing them in two variables when I call this particular function, right? I just need to do a print which says largest element in the list is I can leave this at, and the index is, I can say, sorry, dot format. I need to say it over here is L comma I. With that, we're done with print. F5, okay. The largest element in the list is 15 and the index is 9. So that means we were successful in saying that. Is that cool? Yes. So that's how we find that out. So if I change this to something like, if I change one of the elements to 19, and if I find out, if I run this again, it says largest element in the list is 19 and the index is 6.